Hello there. Welcome back to Oh Yes You Can. This morning our session is called The Elegant Art of Quilling. I first became acquainted with quilling quite a long time ago in something I saw in a magazine, and I just liked the design. It was a little bitty ad or something that I saw, but I liked what I saw as far as the composition and all the lovely shapes that are in there. I thought, I could do that. So I did. And that's how I began my love of quilling. Quilling, of course, is the art form usually using strips of paper, and they are coiled or curled in all sorts of different fashions and slightly different shapes, and either freestanding, I'll show you some freestanding here in a minute, or attached to a background, as this particular one is. See all the different sizes and shapes that the coils are given. Here's an enlarged knuckle on this finger. Anyhow, that's how I got acquainted with quilling, and I'd like to introduce you to, or maybe you're not new to it, maybe you're just returning to it. It is a resurging interest in the United States, apparently, because there are lots and lots of books and resources online. The Crawfordsville Library has a number of books up on the second floor. Easy access, easy peasy. Let's have some fun with quilling. Here are some of the things. Let's see, where shall I start? Here's one. This is one of my little faves. You can see that the coils are put together in, of course, the kind of a flat position here and here, and then this one goes around the neck as a snowman scarf should do. These still are coils up here. They've been turned into a triangle shape by pinching the corners. And these are all, well, with the exception of the nose and mouth, or rather the eyes and the mouth, of course, which is a marker, but the little carrot nose is a teeny tiny little piece of orange paper coiled and attached for the nose. This is a form that I like to use because these can have many uses. They can go on a package. For example, here's something I did just for fun. This was a gift from Waterford Crystal. Yay, yay, yay. A present from Ireland. And so I was playing around with the Irish harp and just decided to kind of see how that would look on there. And so that's how quilling can be used in other ways too, like I say, the embellishment. So this snowman could go on a package in lieu of a ribbon or with a ribbon. So like that. Another form that I did with some ladies a few summers ago was a plan for embellishing their flower pots or their indoor plants with a little summer sunshine. So we made some, can you see my butterfly? We made a butterfly. We made a caterpillar, or an inchworm, whatever you want to call him. We made, of course, ladybugs. Let's have Ladybug having her head up. Here's another ladybug. Her head got kind of smushed a little bit, but another ladybug. And in addition to using, well, I was telling you how the ladies were using them. They made all these different creatures. They had a grasshopper and something else, I don't remember. But they attached them to teeny tiny dowel rods. And then they could insert these into their flower pots or their flower arrangements and just add a little different color that didn't take any extra care. So that was a fun thing to do. This ladybug that I was holding can also, see, this is the ladybug. On the back, I used hot glue and a safety pin and turned it into a lapel pin. That's what I was thinking about with the snowman too, especially at holiday time. It makes a neat little lapel ornament. Let's see here. Oh, this was one of our garden critters too. I like the snail. Kind of hard for me to show you. Can you kind of see my snail there? That was part of that flower gardening project also. And another one I did, I was thinking in terms of high school graduations. Happened to have a little fondness for Crawfordsville High School myself. And so I was thinking, well, for a graduation luncheon or anything high schooly with a C in it, I designed these to be the napkin holder. Of course, this napkin ring could be removed, and the remainder of it could just be on a card, on what do you call those? The placeholders, the name cards at the table, on a package as an embellishment. Lots. I think I'm holding him upside down too. Yes, I am, because that serif on the C should have been lower. Anyhow, that's another way you can use quilling. I wanted to show you this one. This is one of my favorites. Someone in my family was expecting a child, her first child, and so she had names all picked out. And of course, I got busy with my little quilling project and thought, oh, Una Faye would like little pink footprints as a wall hanging in her room. Well, Una Faye turned out to be Benjamin Daniel. So I still am holding this waiting for Una Faye, but I went ahead and made Benjamin Daniel an adorable, about the same size, adorable little giraffe in blues, and put it in a slightly recessed picture frame and made it a hanging for his nursery. So welcome to the world, Benjamin Daniel, waiting on your sister, we hope. Here's another one. This is, I'm going to hold it by the hanger. This piece that I have in my hand up here is the only part that's different from this whole snowflake design. And this is clearly a snowflake that would be beautiful hanging from a garland. It could be white for snow. It could be red for Valentine's. It could be any old color you want it to be, depending on your special event. But can't you just see a series of these hanging maybe from a piece of ribbon? Or maybe on that same piece of ribbon, or a tiny chain or something like that wrapped around a Christmas tree, or a Valentine tree, or an Easter tree. Quilling has endless uses. Here's a design that I like. I'm going to try to hold the angel in various ways so that you can see the angel. And she can be an embellishment on a package. She could be part of a centerpiece. She could go in a flower pot or on a flower vase. If she's not doing any of those things, she might even be the gift. Honest, here she is, here she is. Same angel, different hanger up here, little fancier hanger, almost a halo. I don't know about you, but I save all my broken costume jewelry, throw it in a coffee can, and I have it when I need it. So I wanted this one to be a gift for a special occasion, like a, Secret Santa gift exchange, one of those kinds of things. So I dressed her up a little bit with some fancier embellishments to herself before she goes away as a gift. So again, lots and lots and lots of uses for quilling. What do you need to do quilling? Not very much at all. In fact, I'm going to have you do a project with me today. And it's the holiday season when I'm making this video, and that's why I talk about Christmas maybe a little more than other holidays, but I mentioned Valentine's, I mentioned Easter. All of these things adapt. It's just your imagination that needs to go to work. This is the little guy we're going to do together today, and I want to show you just how very easy, I like that, easy peasy, quilling can be. All you need to do this little project with me is available in a kit from the library if you're among the early birds that get there in time to get a kit. If not, you can make your own. The kit simply contains a whole bunch of paper strips, and these are construction paper. Construction paper, like school paper, works well. Since we're doing a green Christmas tree today, you will have in your packet, or what you're making yourself, 10 strips of green. If you want to make a pink Christmas tree, it's up to you. Okay? You need 10 strips. They're 1/4 of an inch wide by 9 inches long. 1/4 across by 9 inches long, 10 of those, whatever color you choose for your tree. Then I'm putting red ornaments on mine. Yours can be any color you want them to be. Again, this happens to be construction paper. It's also 1/4 of an inch wide by 4 inches long, and this is going to become the ornament on the tree. And oh, you needed 3 of those. 10 green ones, or 10 primary color for your tree, 3 of the color for your ornament, and then whatever your topper is going to be. I just made a yellow star, and it is, again, 1/4 of an inch across, and it is about 2 inches long. It's going to be a smaller coil when we get done with it. So, what else is in your packet? Just so I would remember to tell you, I put in a scrap of paper. This is going to be to hold our glue when we get to that stage. We're just going to put out a dollop of a dollop of glue, and this is school glue. White or clear, I recommend. I think tacky glue might work, but I seem to recall that tacky glue dries a little slower. So school glue, perfect. Any old scrap of paper, envelope, bill you're not paying today kind of thing. Dollop of white glue on there. And we'll do this all together in a minute. One more thing in your packet, or from your kitchen as the case may be. Toothpicks. Plain old round toothpicks. This is going to be, number 1, our glue applicator. So we'll keep it over here with the scratch paper and the dollop of white glue. The other one we'll keep clean and try not to get glue on it, because it's going to be our winding tool to make our coils, to make our little tree. So, a scratch of paper, whatever kind that you have handy, school glue, a couple of toothpicks, 10 strips of your tree color, 1/4 inch wide by, what did I say, 9 inches long, 3 of the ornament colors, 1/4 inch wide by 4 inches long, and 1 smaller strip is also 1/4 inch wide by 2 inches long for the topper on your tree. I'm going to go get set up at my work table. Why don't you do the same, and I'll be back with you momentarily, okay? Well, here I am back again, and I think I have all my materials. I took mine out of the packet like you will get from the library, and I checked that I have 10 pieces of my, remember this is our little fellow that we're making right now. Put the star up on top. So we need all these green pieces, which are those right there, 10 of those, 3 ornaments. Again, any color that you choose to use, of course. And of course, this is my little star topper. Okay, and I told you, I love that word dollop. We're going to do a dollop of glue because it takes such a small amount. half a teaspoon is probably more than I need. So I'm going to get that out of my way so I don't do my usual stunt and put my elbow down in it or something. One of my toothpicks is to be a glue applicator, so I'm going to try to very carefully keep that one with the glue and the other one not with the glue. Okay, how do we do this? Our little coiling tool and our strip go together just like so, with the end against. I didn't tell you, but I need to remind you that my toothpicks, and probably yours, are not the same thickness all the way across. In the middle, they're going to be fatter, and then they kind of taper off in the ends. We want the fat part right in the middle so that our coils are consistent in size. So we're going to put the end of this is the hardest thing you'll be doing all morning, right now. See how I'm holding that end tight against the toothpick as I start to wind. And once, well, when it works right, when it doesn't, you go back and do what I did. Start over again. Okay, I think I've got it this time. And it's winding around the toothpick. And you probably will find that as it winds on, it wants to go kind of off center. So just do what I'm doing and push those edges back together so that you've got a nice flush edge on each side. Go all the way to the end. All the way to the end. And again, mine's starting to go sideways, so I'm going to push it back together. I think when I get to the end that I'm going to find that it's gone, sideways like that once again or twice again, and I'll have to keep pushing those side edges together because I want a nice flat coil when I get over here to the end. Looks pretty well even. I was looking to see if I had left any gaps as I wind it around where it was a little bit too loose, but it looks okay. Take my toothpick off, and now remember we were using both fingers before, but now I'm using just one hand and I'm pushing those edges together so that I've got a nice smooth coil. And when where'd my end go? Here we go. When you get all that done, pull out just a tiny little end with your glue applicator. Put the smallest amount you can. We don't want to have to wait hours while our glue dries, so we're going to use the smallest amount required. Sit back there out of my way to make these stick together. You might have to hold it. When I'm working with younger boys and girls, I say count to 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so forth. And that's usually about how long it takes for these paper ends to begin adhering. If you find that it's not sticking and you need to go back and put a little more glue, do that, no problem. And what you have, I think that's sticking. I didn't count to 20, but I think it's sticking. It's sticking to my finger. That's not in the plan. There we go. There we go. Nice little round coil. It's about, a little bigger than 1/4 of an inch. We're not measuring this exactly because this is not rocket science today. That's what you're going to do with every one of these strips. Let's go ahead and do the rest of the green ones. You do yours, I'll do mine, and then I'll show you the next steps after a bit. Again, being careful though that I go to the glue. Whoa, I don't want the glue now. Excuse me. I want to go to the winding one first. Again, on the edges. It takes a little bit of practice to teach your fingers how to manipulate to make these go where you want them to. Be patient. Go back and try again when one attempt doesn't work quite right. And since all these are done exactly the same way, I'm not going to keep chattering. I'm just going to have you do yours while I do mine, and we'll come back together when that's completed and do the next steps. Now, we've got them all together. Some of mine, I didn't get mushed together quite as much as I had hoped for, but you know, that's going to be okay because the boughs on our tree can be different sizes and shapes. We'll make that work. Did you notice? Well, you went ahead and finished everything right along with me, I'm sure. And did you notice that you were moving a little faster as your fingers got more accustomed to doing what we were supposed to be doing? Okay. And oh, the other thing I wanted to point out was, see how these coils are larger and these get smaller and smaller? And remember, that was because we started with the long strips of paper for the fatter coils. The smaller the coil, the shorter the strip of paper. They're all still 1/4 of an inch wide, but they differ in length and gives you the difference in size of these. So now we're going to put our little tree together. And because some of mine are different shapes slightly or different sizes, that might make me decide to put them together somewhat differently. What we're going to aim for is 4 across the bottom row, 3 across the next row. Come here, you. Like that. Then 2. And finally, the 1. Now, if yours are like mine and they look like one's fatter than the other and you don't like where it's positioned, just play puzzle pieces with for a minute until you get them in a pleasing design. These will come on a little bit later, so we'll put them out of the way. This part I always get real messy with, so if you want to work on a saucer that you can wash up Or if your surface is like this and you can wash the surface, that's fine. But glue is going to get onto the surface. And what I like to do is take my first coil and find the old seam line and start there, so that if there's any notion that it's going to come loose again, I'm going to have a second coat of glue trapping it in place. So with that being said, those two get out of my way for a minute. Those two go together. Same situation. See what I mean about messy? It's all right. It cleans up. I think that was my next one. And 4 across the bottom, remember? So 1 more down here. I think it was this big fat guy. I'm going to take that off and put the big fat guy in the middle. And remember to align my prior seam line to make sure that they stay glued. So I have a row of 4 that doesn't want to stay where I put it. And part of that is because I have some glue on my fingers now. Probably be a good idea to stop and go wash hands at some point. Okay, I want those to be kind of straight across. Now I'm going to get really generous with the glue because I want some to touch this and this one. And I'm just going to go ahead and put a whole row across here while I'm gluing. And I can see that I'm going to have to go back and put more glue. And this is not unusual because this is a little tricky, at least for me, to get these to stick together. So I've got a row of 4, kind of wobbly. I'm going to stick the next 3 on in between like so. Between like so. Get my hands out of the way so that, get my sticky fingers out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. See there? 4 across the bottom, 3 next. And we'll go back to that same process of kind of slopping on quite a bit of glue in here. Made a mess, didn't I? One, 2, 3, 4. Whoops, I got 1 too many in there that time. You don't belong there. I really am going to have to do something about my sticky fingers. They're making this not work the way I want it to work. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 across, 3 across. Slop on some more glue. You saw I really slopped that on, but the beauty of this kind of glue is it dries clear. So it covers up my mistakes. 2 in this row. And slop on 1 more section of glue. And put our number 10 tree branch on our tree. And he doesn't like his position, I guess. There we go. There we go. Now what I found when I put this one together was that these just were not liking to stay together. So what I did was I went back and got my glue bottle, and this is why I say you need to have a good cleanup place. I just gave them another coat of glue, and this, of course, is going to become the back of my tree, ultimately, over here on this side. But I just put on another layer of glue, making sure that I let it hit those spots where the coils meet, so that they've got plenty of chance to adhere. It's not my favorite thing to do, because then we do have to kind of wait and wait and wait until it dries and lets us handle it again. And that, because I put on quite a bit, that's going to take a while. But ultimately it gives me the sturdiness that I need on the back of this, so that I can kind of move it around and it won't fall apart. Okay, since I can't do it on mine right now, I'm just going to demonstrate to you. Get my clean toothpick. See, these were smaller than the green boughs, and so I just tucked them on. This one kind of fell over on its side as I was gluing it on. I thought, I like that, so I just left it. So wherever you want to position your ornaments, do that right now, just like we did the other part, only you're going to be gluing them onto the surface of the top surface of these boughs. Just glue on one side and stick them down. And the one up at the top is going to be right back to how we put the tree together. It's going to be glue on one side of the ornament attached to the top of your tree, just like that. Did you get your Christmas tree together? Are you like me, waiting for it to dry? Yeah, my other one isn't dry yet, so I brought the original back in here to show you one more time. When I showed you the snowman a while ago, I think was, well, I guess I showed you something else that had a pin on the back, but I had commented that these could be good lapel pins with a pin on the back. This makes an adorable little lapel pin. So, again, many uses for these. I wanted to show you, just as a reminder, if this is something you like, the tools that you need. So simple, so simple. You need school glue. You need a winding tool. We used toothpicks because we wanted, where'd my tree go? Because we wanted teeny tiny coils. On this one that I showed you at the very beginning, I needed bigger coils. So I think probably for that one I might have used a drinking straw. Of course, these nicely come in different sizes. You could also use a pencil or a pen, as long as it has a nice smooth cylinder. Some pencils, you know, have a beveled side and they don't work as well. You want the round pencil. Dowel rods. Anything that's round. Needles. I imagine needles could work for some of those teeny tiny kinds of coils. I try to tell you things that can get you started with a craft or an art form inexpensively. If you find that you really, really like this stuff and you want to get into it more in depth, certainly there are supplies available. There are the coiling tools, and I don't have one, but they're kind of neat because they're a bit like a crochet hook in a way that you could hook the paper to the end and wind it, and you don't have to do that stuff with your fingernails like we were doing. That's another thing. And papers. Papers come in all sizes and weights, as you probably know. What we did with our Christmas tree and what I did with this one were construction paper, just regular old, what I call school construction paper. I happened to pick this one up, I think, at the dollar store. But anywhere, just, and I did find that as I went through this, that some of it is much heavier and doesn't coil as easily. For example, cardstock is it's much heavier and when you try to coil it, it tends to bend. It doesn't make a nice smooth coil. So the weight of the paper you're going to practice and experiment with and learn. But usually school construction paper works quite well. I was working on a project at one time where I needed the fabulous colors that I found in a copier paper. Now, copier paper of the usual grade is too thin. It's too flimsy and it doesn't work as well. But this one is a slightly heavier paper. It's like the weight, it feels like the school construction paper. And it comes in all these elegant colors. So this is copier paper. We have some regular copier paper that goes through the copier here at the library. It's much lighter in weight, and I think it might not work as well. I think it would be too flimsy for you. Anyhow, those are lots of choices that you can make very economically, but the possibilities are endless. I hope you enjoy quilling as much as I do. Maybe you'll come up with your own creations or use the patterns and so forth that you find in the books and library materials and online that I was talking about before. Experiment, have fun, because, oh yes, you can. Bye.